How we doing? How we doing? This is Destination Denver, Colorado, and today we are going to talk about the must-see neighborhoods if you are relocating to Denver, Colorado. I'm talking about the primo places you cannot miss, and we're starting right now. All right, this is Destination Denver, Colorado. I'm your host, Jim Everett, and listen, there are two things that we do here. One, we talk all things Denver Metro and Colorado Front Range, what it's like to live here, breathe here, exist here. And two, as a licensed mortgage broker covering the entire state of Colorado, I'm teamed with some of the state's most talented realtors, and we're helping people like you move here each and every day. So the number and email you see on your screen, know that I am always the person, answer your phone calls, answer your texts, answer your emails, there, when and if you need me. Now that we're done with that fun-filled stuff, let's get to what we're here for, and that is what are the must-see neighborhoods of Denver, Colorado that you cannot miss if you're relocating here. All right, there are dozens of neighborhoods in Denver, Colorado that are fan favorites, my favorites, you name it. We're gonna try to shrink that down a little bit so I'm not keeping you here all day, and we're gonna cover a lot of ground in a little bit of time. So we're going to start with quite possibly my favorite neighborhood in all of Denver. It's a place that I'd love to explore living at some point in my life, and that is the Highlands or Highland, North Denver if you're a native. I gotta make sure I mention that. And we're gonna split this into a couple areas. We're gonna split this into LoHi, Lower Highlands, and Highlands. Denver really loves its neighborhood names. That is a growing trend for us. It just can't be one, they gotta change it. So you have the Lower Highlands located just west of downtown Denver, right across I-25. Highlands Bridge takes you, a pedestrian bridge takes you right over into it. And you're talking about this great neighborhood where rooftop patios with mountain views and city views are just all around you. It's really a place where trendy meets historic, where young professionals and growing families live. It's got this great variety, and it's one of the most walkable areas in all of the Denver Metro. So in these neighborhoods, you're gonna see a ton of boutique coffee shops. You're gonna see award-winning restaurants. You're gonna see cocktail bars. Again, when we talk about these rooftop patios, that's a huge aspect of the Highlands. And parks mixed in between, a lot of patios, a lot outdoors. You're gonna find a ton of single-family homes, but you're also gonna have plenty of townhomes, plenty of condos, apartments, just a variety of living. And there's several blocks within LoHi where you have that walkability factor. And people love that area because not only do you have it, but it's a very easy walk or bike ride right into downtown. Like I said, you cross the Highlands Bridge and you're right in downtown. Now, as you move farther west, you cross Federal into the rest of the Highlands. And again, a lot of locals still refer to it as North Denver. That's what it was always called. Again, you still have these great areas. You got other locations like 32nd and Lowell, this great stretch with restaurants and bars and a lot of things to do. You've got Tennyson Street, still considered the Highlands, this long stretch of shops and all these different things you want to do. That's one of the things that makes the Highlands so popular is, again, even within the neighborhood, it's not one central location. There are several different areas of the Highlands that people will spend their time. From a housing standpoint, as I mentioned, you have a mix of new townhomes, you've got modern builds, you've got restored Victorian homes. Now, your price points are gonna be higher than average. Certainly, it's gonna be one of the more expensive communities in Denver because of all of these amenities, but still remains one of the most popular places for people exploring to move. And I would mention one piece of feedback. Although you still have Tennyson, and although you still have, like I said, that 32nd Lowell area, LoHi tends to be a more nightlife-centric place. Not to say that families or quiet people per se don't live there, but you tend to see more nightlife in LoHi or the closer you get to the city, whereas the West Highlands tends to be a bit more of a suburb vibe to it. And yes, I may use the term vibe several times. I'm old and I'm not hip, but I try. Now, there's a couple areas in this video where I've got to lump two neighborhoods into one section to cover, again, a lot of ground. And so we're gonna cover two of just the best. They're all the best. And that is Wash Park, Washington Park if you're not from here, and Platte Park. So Wash Park, this huge, just great park. You want to talk about one of the most popular places in the city to go on just a sunny day, especially on the weekend, where people are walking around it, they're running, they're biking, they're playing volleyball. There's just people everywhere. Kids, families, singles, you name it. Wash Park is that. And because of that park, the surrounding area, the neighborhood of Wash Park is among the most popular, definitely at a premium price, but one of the most popular areas in all of Denver to live. And so within Wash Park, you have historic Tudors, you've got Denver Squares, and plus you have these multi-million dollar remodels. You've got some incredible houses in Wash Park. The park itself is 165 acres with lakes, gardens, tennis courts. It's got a 2.6 mile loop. And I mean, every weekend, like I said, it's packed with runners, bikers, strollers. Now, you move over to Platte Park. Platte Park has a bit of variety to it because part of Platte Park, or the edge of it, is along South Broadway, a stretch of one of the busier roads in Denver filled with restaurants and bars and culture and all sorts of stuff. It's a place that you're gonna find your bar that's open until 2 a.m. That's when we close down. That's where you're gonna find a lot of activity. Still in Platte Park, you go over to an area like Pearl Street, which is one of my favorite walking strips in all the Denver metro, where it's not quite the Pearl Street of Boulder, but just this long stretch where you can go several blocks. You've got a great farmer's market in the summertime. But again, restaurants, boutiques, flower shops, ice cream shops, breweries, you name it. Just a fantastic place to spend a day. And again, because of how close they are, Wash Park, Platte Park, both located just a little south of Denver. I should probably mention that aspect. You have that quick access between the two. So people who live in one will certainly take advantage of being close to the other. Now in Platte Park, you'll see smaller craftsman bungalows, you'll see cozy cottages, you will see some newer builds, but certainly at a price point that is not quite hitting what you'll see in Wash Park. And what makes them special is that Wash Park is really like the Denver lifestyle showcase. It's picnic with friends, it's paddle on the lake, it's join up for a volleyball picnic. Platte Park, meanwhile, offers kind of this small town neighborhood feel to it, but it's just minutes from downtown. And again, you have that Pearl Street aspect. So you got these really great areas within both that, you could live in one and enjoy the other. It's a spectacular area. And yes, I will say my family and I are routinely in both Wash Park and Platte Park. Next up on the list is an area that I lived in for several years, nearly a decade, and that's Sloan's Lake, which is due west of Denver, just south, if you will, of the Highlands. And so this is kind of one of those areas where, much like I did with Wash Park and Platte Park, I could have lumped Sloan's Lake in with the Highlands to an extent, because again, there is some overlap. There are people that will live in Sloan's Lake and certainly, as I did, enjoy the Highlands because you're only 5, 10, 15 minutes from these places. But Sloan's Lake, the largest body of water you're gonna find anywhere near Denver, and not large by any means. It's a couple miles around. But again, just a great park to get out to, plenty of areas to play and frolic and all of the things. Great place for kids, and a great area to just walk around the lake. You've got, the city on one side, this beautiful cityscape there. And then as you round the lake, you've got the mountains on the other side. Along 17th Avenue, which is on one side of the lake, you've got this area that used to be St. Anthony's Hospital that is now filled with apartments and restaurants and different things to go and enjoy there. There's an Alamo Draft House if you want to grab a beer and watch a movie. Just a lot of things to do there in Sloan's Lake. Now, Sloan's Lake was not always one of the more popular areas. That same goes for North Denver, if I will, but it has grown. There's a lot of different amenities that exist in Sloan's Lake. Great housing options. You are also, I should mention, the western side of Sloan's Lake borders Sheridan Boulevard. On the other side of Sheridan is a very small town called Edgewater. It's a suburb of Denver, but really it's only a handful of blocks. And Edgewater is also filled with some great areas to live, some single family, you name it. But along 25th Avenue, it's filled with a lot of different restaurants, bars, different things to do. And also over on 20th Avenue, basically right in the middle of the lake, you walk up this road and there's this great public market filled with different things to do. So a lot of amenities there in Sloan's Lake that make it extremely popular. And from a location standpoint, tough to beat because it is a Denver community where, again, you have 10-minute access to get downtown, and you can easily be in the mountains in 20-25 minutes. Among the more popular things about Sloan's Lake itself is paddle boarding. You'll see some kayaking. You'll see a lot of running and biking. Again, it's about a 2.6 mile loop around the lake. You'll have massive festivals there at the lake. The Dragon Boat Festival is among the best. Now get there early because it gets packed, but the dragon boats are fantastic. And as I mentioned, it's that quick drive if you need to get downtown, even a bike ride down. For housing, you're gonna see a lot of old 1940s, 1950s cottages next to this like new luxury townhome and just modern monstrosity in some cases. You're going to see a ton of row homes. You're going to see a ton of condos. And you're going to see these amazing houses along the lake that someday, when I have a lot more money than I do now, I will buy them. But I mean, unlikely in this lifetime, maybe in my next or the one after. And among the best aspects of Sloan's Lake, as I mentioned earlier, is that viewpoint. The fact you have these great cityscapes of Denver right there, and then you've got the mountains. In certain areas of Sloan's Lake, obviously you get both images. At least you get I should say this. You're not looking at the city and the mountains. That's impossible. But just great visuals there. And also, I should mention, you have the West Colfax corridor, which is filling up with restaurants and coffee spots and breweries and a lot of things to do there. So another added amenity there for Sloan's Lake. Now, we've shown a lot of love to West Denver, a little bit of South. Let's go East Denver, and we're gonna go to Park Hill, or South Park Hill specifically. One of the most popular neighborhoods in all of Denver for a variety of reasons. We're talking historic, diverse, intellectual, family-oriented. Historic really comes top of mind when we're talking about Park Hill. So when we talk about lifestyle perks, you're talking about wide, tree-lined streets and some of Denver's grandest old homes. This is a community that was built in the early 1900s. You have fantastic access to the city park, Denver Zoo, the Museum of Nature and Science, which I was just at this weekend with my daughter. I'm just a spectacular area. A lot of walkability, a lot of shops around, a lot of things to do. It's an active neighborhood with associations, strong community involvement. You just get a lot of activity there. When we talk about housing, you're talking about a mix of these stately Tudors, Denver squares, you got some brick bungalows, and then you've got these larger estates, because again, these communities go back years and years. You drive through some of the neighborhoods of South Park Hill, and Park Hill for that matter, the entire neighborhood, that will just take your breath away. And because of its deep roots in Denver's history, it is one of the city's most racially and culturally diverse neighborhoods that you're gonna find. It also, to me, feels like a small town inside this big city, just the way. And there's something about driving through parts of Park Hill where, again, you have the one lane, or two lane, but one direction road. You've got greenery in the middle, so you got trees on either side, you get traffic going the other way. I don't know, it just, to me, kind of feels like living back on the East Coast, which again, I did for several years. Kind of missed some of those aspects, but Park Hill, absolutely an area you need to check out. Now, I get plenty of folks who say, well, listen, these are great communities, but they're not downtown. I want to live downtown. I want to experience that. And if we're talking downtown, one of the first neighborhoods that's going to come to mind on any Google search is going to be Capitol Hill, obviously located near the Capitol, right there in the heart. So you've got Colfax on one side, you've got Lincoln lining it on another. You're very close to Broadway, which again has a lot of restaurants, bars, a lot of things going on. You can walk to Cheeseman Park, you can walk to the Denver Botanical Gardens, you can walk to the Civic Center. I mean, again, you're in the hub of it. Just across Colfax from Cap Hill is another area called Uptown, which I absolutely could have included in this video, but for the sake of not having every neighborhood in town, I didn't, but just a ton of things to do there. Now, Cap Hill is going to be known for music venues and coffee shops and nightlife and quirky bars, plenty of quirky bars there. And it's got this rich history, which was started to be built off of silver mining, of all things. You think Denver, and a lot of times people think gold, but initially, late 1800s, early 1900s, there was a ton of silver here. So you had these, historic mansions being built, and as these mansions at the time were then converted into these single family homes and then into multifamily. So you'll see a lot of these houses, but really they've been chopped into 2, 3, 4 apartments. And some of them have also been turned into museums. It's got a lot of history, a lot of culture, a lot of energy to it. And as far as housing, especially if you're talking downtown living, relatively affordable walk-up apartments and condos. You've got historic brownstones. You've got, as I mentioned, these old historic mansions that have been turned into multifamily housing. So that, they can be really, really cool. And again, That part reminds me of living in the East Coast, living in New York, living in Connecticut. That's kind of how the houses were there. And it is one of the few affordable entry points for a lot of people who are looking to live in the city of Denver. So it's very popular for that reason. And I think what makes Cap Hill special is that it's always buzzing. It's always alive. It's Denver's most energetic and bohemian neighborhood to me, and there's just so much character there that I enjoy. Now we're gonna go from energy and nightlife of Cap Hill to Cherry Creek, which is perhaps the most walkable in all of the neighborhoods that we have here. So Cherry Creek, located kind of south of Denver, maybe 10 minutes from downtown. You're just gonna head out Spear Boulevard and head right over into Cherry Creek. So if you are thinking about the hub of a lot of companies or a lot of offices in Cherry Creek, you're thinking about shopping, that is Cherry Creek. If you're thinking about afternoon coffee meetings and lunches, Cherry Creek is just the hub of it. And you're talking blocks, 8, 9, 10 blocks of shops and restaurants and things. Now, again, when I mention of all the communities we're talking about, I would probably say Cherry Creek and Wash Park is probably something I should have researched a little more before I made this video, right? I kid. Wash Park and Cherry Creek are probably neck and neck as far as affordability. If you find a place there, odds are you're paying a pretty high premium for it. Again, the thing about Cherry Creek, it's polished, it's upscale, it is highly walkable. It is Denver's luxury hub, no doubt about it. Some of the lifestyle perks. You've got Cherry Creek North with luxury shopping, galleries, high-end dining. You've got the Cherry Creek Trail that connects you straight to downtown on a bike. You've got annual events like the Cherry Creek Arts Festival. You've got a lot going on. Now, when it comes to housing, you have a mix of these luxury condos, townhomes, and these single-family homes that are tucked onto these like leafy streets. A lot of trees. So you get this high price point, but you also get a very desirable community. And to me, what makes Cherry Creek special is that it's the closest Denver gets to like the big city cosmopolitan vibe. It's a place where lifestyle and convenience meet, and they meet at the top end. Now, for people who are more, nightlife centric, now, when we're talking about these neighborhoods, a lot of folks will, as Cherry Creek as an example, will say, well, listen, I don't want to live in an area where just a bunch of bars are letting out at 2 o'clock in the morning. And that is something that you might get in certain neighborhoods downtown. That might be something you deal with in Cap Hill. Cherry Creek is more of a community where most of your places there are closing at 9:30, 10 o'clock. It's a place that gets really quiet early into the evening. So a lot of hustle and bustle during the day, a lot of activity, just a ton of people, and then it kind of runs its course. So to me, Cherry Creek gives you this great blend. If you're living in the community and you want to be able to walk around or take a quick bike ride, I've got a buddy I just met up with yesterday who is always in Cherry Creek and he just rides his bike everywhere. It's pretty nice for him and his family. But you don't have that same atmosphere where, you have 30 drunk people walking out of a bar across the street from your house. And I can't end the video without giving you a bonus, and that is Congress Park, which is to me just an area that flies a little under the radar, still city. So Congress Park has this laid back, neighborly, and quieter energy than say a Cap Hill or a Cheeseman. So where I mentioned Cherry Creek, and I should have said southeast of Denver, Cherry Creek kind of curves southeast. Congress Park, just really north of Cherry Creek there, east of Denver. And so again, some of the perks. You got a ton of walkability. It's walkable to the Botanic Gardens, City Park, Bluebird Theater, one of the best music venues in Denver, a lot of history there. It's got these small local cafes. It's got pizza joints. It's got neighborhood shops that really keep it authentic. It's got parks. It's got rec centers. It's got a strong community spirit. People who live in Congress Park tend to love Congress Park. And as far as housing, and again, you tend to hear this in a lot of these neighborhoods in Denver, you have a nice mix of Denver squares, which is just style of home that Denver is known for, bungalows, brick homes, and certainly some smaller condos. And one of the reasons people will look at Congress Park is it's more affordable than a Wash Park and a Cherry Creek, but you're still pretty centralized. That quick access to Denver. Obviously, you're east of Denver, so a little farther to the mountains, but you've got quick access to these other areas. You can get into Park Hill quick. You can get down to Cherry Creek. You can get over to Cap Hill. You're still central, but you're not paying Wash Park or Cherry Creek prices. And the reason that I say that it flies under the radar is it's genuinely one of those places that people don't tend to find until they're here visiting and somebody else tells them about it. So I'll have people who come in and they've heard of Cap Hill and Uptown and Highlands and Waterfront. They've heard of all of these. And then as they're looking around, whether I've mentioned it or they kind of find it on their own, they come back and they're like, man, Congress Park has a lot going for it. So certainly one of those places that I want to encourage people to check out. And to me, again, I think it offers that same central location that a lot of people want while having kind of a quieter energy to it, more of a like friendly, calmer residential neighborhood energy to it, not quite as boisterous as a Cap Hill, not certainly as pricey as a South Park Hill, while still having that access to all the key things that Denver city living brings to people. And listen, there are still, probably a dozen neighborhoods of Denver that we could talk about that have so many opportunities. These were just some that really came top of mind to me. And as I started to talk to folks who have moved here, these are the ones that were top of mind for them. I would love to talk to you about these or any neighborhood you have interest in, and that's a perfect opportunity. My number and email here on the screen. Know that I am always the person, answer your phone calls, answer your texts, answer your emails, there when and if you need me. This is Destination Denver, Colorado. I'm your host, Jimmy Everts. That was the must-see neighborhoods of Denver, Colorado if you're relocating here. Until I see you next time, peace.